My name's Barbara Jean Lindsay. I'm an ordained minister for the last 30 years. It all started in 1989 when I had a near-death experience. Since that time, I've become a professional psychic, spiritual teacher, and healer. I've traveled the world. And I've had an interesting life filled with lots of adventure, lots of contact, even since the initial contact. The very first contact was when I was 12 years old. I was going to speak in front of a large audience, in fact, the whole school. I was a little nervous about it. And right when they were to call my name, right on the right side of my right peripheral, a group of beings came. They were tall, in white robes and white hoods, square-shouldered, about 8 feet tall, and I could never see their face. And they asked me if I would like to, at some time in the future, speak to large groups of people and give them inspiration and hope. And I said, sure, I'll do that. And then they said, well, also, you won't get paid for it. I said, oh, no, my family's very poor. I would have to get paid for it. And they said, no, you can't get paid for it. And I said, okay, I won't get paid for it. It's okay. And so they left. And I went up on the stage and I told a story, and it was very well received. It was my first public speaking experience at 12 years old. And I liked it and I enjoyed it. And so I didn't see this group of beings again until my near-death experience in 1989. And in 1989, I was a single mom with 3 children. I was working hard. I had 2 jobs. And that day was just a really extraordinarily unusual day from the beginning, when I woke up with this white misty cloud around me, and I didn't have time for that. I had things to do. So I laid back down thinking maybe it would go away, but it didn't. And so that little white misty cloud kind of followed me through getting the kids to school. I went to the local psychic school to find out what was going on with me, because I was out of synchronicity. I felt like I was separate from what was going on in the world. And that when I would have conversations with people, it was delayed. So there was something going on. I wasn't quite sure what it was, and I became afraid. So I went to the local school. I was just starting to learn about psychic abilities. It was something that interested me. I was a practicing Catholic at the time, so that was a big step for me into something unusual at the time. And so I went to the school, and they kicked me out. They said my energy was so weird and erratic that they didn't want it in the school. And so I left. And so the whole day was kind of this out of tune day. And that evening, I went to a women's healing clinic. And in that healing clinic, I walked in, and I had a lot of pain in my chest, so much so that there was like thousands of knives into my chest. And I couldn't breathe. And the next thing I remember is popping out of the body and going somewhere else. And as I was going somewhere else, my body was taken up from the women. It was a women's retreat, 35 to 50 women, and they popped me up on a chair. And this is what I was told later by the other psychics, was that I full body channeled a being from Egypt who said he was going to kill me because I had information that couldn't be shared at that time. And so he collapsed both my lungs, and they had to give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and I went to an ICU unit. I was really fighting for my life there. Now, I forget to tell this sometimes, but in this story, this real life drama, as I was up just without any pain or suffering at all, my body was being fought for by a group of beings, by Thor, which is really out there. Okay, this is in 1989. This is before Marvel movies or any of that sort of thing. But it happened to be when you go to a psychic clinic for healing, there was a group of psychics in a line, and their job was to read the energy of that night. And I was told later by these psychics that when when the being from Egypt went to collapse my lungs, that a being called Thor came in with his hammer and beat the crap out of that guy and moved him out and actually saved my life. And that's for real. That's a real thing that really happened. I don't have any memory of it, but I have the psychics. They're still alive. They can tell you the story. That's really what went down. So I was really fortunate to have this being a fight for me on the inner plane so that I could be here now. So as my body's in the ICU, and they gave me so many defibrillation, I guess you call them points with the pads, right? That I have a huge scar from my arm all the way going down into my heart. Looks kind of like a tree limb, and that's from all the electricity going through my body at the time to save me. I talked to the doctor 5 years later, and he told me that's the most electricity he'd ever put through anybody, because he thought for sure I was going to die in any minute. And so he figured he would, give it everything she's got and keep her here, because he didn't think I would make it at all. And I was given last rites, and I lost a lot of oxygen, and things were looking not so good on the earth plane. Now, with my body fighting for its life, I, as a spirit, broke free. And when I broke free, I went to this beautiful water, this dark, warm, undulating water. And in this water was so much love, more love than I had ever had experienced in my whole life, even more love than my 3 children, which I absolutely adore. And this love just became one with me. I became one with it. And it was just the most beautiful, intelligent, alive, moving, organic, beautiful, expanded. There were no ends to it. It was unbridled. It was unconditional. It was like, and I was with it, and it was with me. And then I looked down, and I noticed I didn't have a body there. And when I noticed I didn't have a body, it kind of freaked me out a little bit. I just went, oh my God, I don't have a body. How can I exist without a body? At that time, it was new to me. It was foreign to me. I didn't know that about consciousness. I didn't know about any of that stuff. And so when I freaked out, when I said, "Oh my God, I'm me. I still exist without a body," in that moment, I went on a spaceship, and I was up on a spaceship, and I looked down, and I was in a kind of a dentist jump seat chair, and I'll do my best to give you exactly what happened. I won't embellish it. I won't take away anything. I will give you my best remembrance of this. So I'm in this kind of like a dentist jump seat chair, and my hands are on each side. But I look down, and I still don't have a body. I still don't have one, but I can feel the weight of the body, which is interesting. And so off to my left, this being comes up to me. He's about 8 feet tall. And he had the big white shoulders, square shoulders, long white robe, beautiful robe, big hood, no face, absolutely no face, but so much love emanating from this being to me. He felt very intelligent. It felt like a male, even though there was no sexuality at all, but it felt like a male being, kind of like a grandfather, a master being. His job was to keep me comfortable and feel safe and secure, which he did. And he told me I could call him the guardian, which I did. And he said he was there to be the communicator between myself and a council of beings that I will be meeting very shortly. And so I'm sitting there, I'm going, God, what's a girl like me doing in a place like this? And it's like, holy crap. And I wasn't afraid at all. And I was just kind of enjoying the experience, actually, no pain, no anything, but 100% in the moment, 100% there, no past, no future, no anything, just 100% in it. And so when he waved his hand, you could see a large opening open up a glass pane, and behind the glass pane were a group of beings. I'd say about 10 to 12. I didn't count them. I wish I did, but I didn't. They were tall, some were skinny, some were fat, but they had a lot of personality. They would get all excited and jump around, and then they would all come to a conclusion. They would then give that information to their communicator, who would then communicate to my guardian, who would then communicate to me. And so they were there to give me experiences. And that's how they teach, is through experience. And so off to the right, he moved his hand again, and a hologram of the earth came towards me, and I came towards it. And then we meshed as one. I became one with our Earth Mother, our planet. And I got to see that she was feminine, that she was alive, that I was a part of her. She was a part of me, and our heartbeats became one. And then later I did a lot of work with a First Nation chief, and it felt like the drumming of a drum, of a Native First Nation drum. That beat of the drum is that heartbeat of the earth, the heartbeat of her. And I just cried like a baby, but I still didn't have a body. But I got to see that what they told me is that she's beautiful, and that she's very important in the bigger scheme of things, and that we need to protect her and take care of her, and that we've been disrespecting her. And they wanted me to get that I needed to help however I could protect her and take care of her. And so I said I would. And so then from that moment, we flew out of the spaceship. And I'm not thinking anything about this. Okay, now I would probably freak out or something, but then I'm just flying with the Guardian, and we're going over these. This is when people ask, "Hey, can I have some of what you're having?" Or, and it wasn't like that at all. I was fully present there. I wasn't out of my body. I was totally in my consciousness without a body. And so we're floating over these mountains and hills and valleys of forest, of thousands and thousands of acres of forest, and so beautiful that I could fly over the tops of these trees, and there were no people there, no buildings there. And I kind of became one with it. It became one with me. And my heart just totally opened up. And I thought at the time they were giving me healing. I was going through a divorce and having a really tough time. And I thought maybe they were healing my heart chakra at the time. But now looking back, I'm pretty sure that has something to do with the Sasquatch connection. And that's a whole nother story. At the time, I wasn't aware of any kind of connection with that at all. And so we're flying over that, and it feels so beautiful and so expanded and so nurtured and so loved and so healing. And then the next moment, he looks at me. I can't see his face, but it's time for us to go to the next experience. So then I find myself stepping up on these alabaster stairs, going up. They're beautiful, long, expansive stairs. And then you hit the top, and to my right, floating in the cosmos with all the stars, is a beautiful Grecian temple of columns. I don't know if they're Doric or Corinthian, but they're beautiful columns. And I'll never forget it. Just this most beautiful space. It's a temple and floating in the cosmos. And so we go up to it. And when I do, there's a circle, a group of beings, and it's the same ones with the same hoods and the same, I can't see their faces, and the same square shoulders. And I'm thinking, it's me. I'm thinking, did they get like a discount on the robes or something? And that's why everyone wears the matching ones. That part just didn't ever make sense to me, but maybe that's what I could handle at the time. I'm not sure. And so they broke their synergistic field, and I grabbed both their hands, one being on one side and one on the other. And then I got kind of locked in their energetic circle and became one with that energy. And they did kind of a low guttural, like that kind of a sound. It was really beautiful, really, really beautiful. I don't know how long I was there, but in the middle of the group was a column, and in this column was a hologram of the earth again with this white mist. And they told me that their names were the Watchers, and that they watch and protect the Mother Earth. And they called her the Mother Earth. They didn't call her Earth, they called her the Mother Earth, that they protect her, and that I was a part of them and they were a part of me, and that I could come back there anytime I wanted. I'm with them and floating in the cosmos and having this most amazing time. And I felt really honored to be with them. And I also felt that to have such a group protect our Earth is something to be really thankful for. I felt really honored to be there. And in that moment, then he took me up again. He gives me this look, and it's next for the next experience. And the next experience, I find myself in this wild Victorian spaceship, but it looks Victorian. It has black and white checkered floor. I was an interior designer at the time, so I had a lot of attention to detail. And there was some jazzy music in the background, and they were just filled with hundreds of different kinds of beings. And I was so excited. It was so wonderful. It was beyond for me to see all these types of people. And they communicated. They kind of had like a Star Trek sort of a badge thing that they would wear. And so when they met you, you could connect your badges with each other, so you could each know each other's language. It was really interesting if you wanted to do that. And it was also all of the communication was telepathic, except for the one guy that stood out, the one being kind of a teddy bear being. He was a little bit short, kind of fat, and he had a little monocle. And he was really excited to see me because he was kind of shaking when he saw me. And he talked with me like actual talking. And he was a scholar, and he had studied humans, but had never had the fortune to meet a human. And so he was all excited about it. So I felt like I was really on display there. My guardian kept me really close, and someone asked me about that. I think he just wanted to make sure I felt safe because there was a lot of people there, and he didn't want to lose me. And so I saw another being way down the hallway that stood out. He had a pink elephant head and a tuxedo. I remember him. There was something about him. I keep thinking maybe one of these days I'll see him again or something. I'm not sure. But it was delightful. And they said they were there because I asked as a ambassador gala for people from all different planets to come together and to keep peace in the galaxies. And it was very sophisticated. Someone asked me about that, if it was like Star Wars. I go, no, it was very sophisticated, very intellectual, and very beautiful. And they were all going to meet and talk and discuss things and educate each other among them. And I just thought it was really wonderful. And in that moment, my guardian came up to me again and said, it's time to go. And I really didn't want to go. And so then I see myself spiraling up and up into the cosmos, and I'm surrounded by all these beautiful women in these amazing dresses of satin, of lapis and turquoises and oranges and bright yellows, and they have beautiful necklaces, and they have long siren-y hair, and they only spoke in tones. They never spoke in words to me, and they were singing and playing instruments. And their work with me was to help me find my tone. And my tone's very low, and theirs is very high, that beautiful operatic, oh, you like that? You're just gorgeous. I can't even touch that, not in a million years. So I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to find my tone at all because I was embarrassed. And I go, no, you've got to do it. So I did. I found it. And mine was very much like the Tibetan watchers, like the watchers that I had met. Mine's a very low tone, but that's my tone. And once I got it, they're all happy. And then in comes the guardian. He says, it's time to go home. And I go, oh, no, I don't want to go home. He goes, oh, yeah, you got to go home. I go, no, I don't want to go home. And I'm arguing with him. And then he says, well, you have 3 children. I go, oh, my children, I'm back. Let's go. I couldn't get home fast enough, And so then I see myself, I don't even know it's myself, really. I look down on a hospital bed, and my best friend is there. She's in meditation and someone's in the bed. And I don't really realize it at first that it's me in that hospital bed. And then I realize that, oh my God, that's me down there. I'm here, but I'm also down there. And I didn't freak out or anything, but it was just like, okay, I got it. I didn't look so bad, maybe a little fat, but not too bad. And and as I'm starting to go down, the guardian brings me back up again, and he says, "Hey, we have a mission for you if you'd like to do it. Would you like to be an ambassador?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll be an ambassador." But I'm thinking, what's an ambassador? What's an ambassador? And so then I go back down. I'm going to need some serious help down there. And so can I get like a get out of jail free card or something like that to help me? And he says, "Well, Barbara, will give you the gift of white light." And I thought, white light? Everybody knows about white light. Everyone has white light. And so I was kind of pissed. I kind of threw a little fit like a 10-year-old. And so he thinks it's really funny. He goes, "No, it's white light. Kind of like you'll get it later. Like I don't have time to explain all that to you right now. So you'll just get it later." So I told him thanks, and I go down to my body and I look back, and I have never seen him since then. And I miss him sometimes. So I go back to the body. I go down into the body. I acclimate the body. I fill the body with all white light till it's all filled up. Everything's ready to go. Everything's settled. And then I sit up, and I have all these cords. I have to pull out the cords and stuff. I go, "I'm starving. I want some nachos." And my friend she goes, "Oh my God, you're alive and you can talk." And I started talking with her like I had just gotten up from a nap instead of being in a coma for 3 days, So, and I had no negative reactions from it. It was a total miracle. And it changed my life forever. And then I had to acclimate it, and all my psychic abilities turned on. And I quit my job I had a fine art gallery and a interior design business, and I quit both of those. I became an ordained minister. I divorced my husband. I dedicated my life to doing healings and readings, and I've done that for 34 years. I'm 70 years old now. I'll be 71. And at the time, I thought I was just human. I was just doing the best I could just to stay alive down here, basically. And I think I went up there to be expanded, to be reminded that who we really are, that we really are these amazing creative beings that come from all sorts of different planets, from all sorts of different star systems and galaxies. And I might have a human body, a human avatar, which I do have here on Earth. But me, Barbara, I'm free from all of this. My consciousness, I get to, when I lay this body down, or as the First Nation calls it, when I lay down the skin dressing, I still exist. The body might die and go back to where it came from, but my consciousness, Barbara, still exists, and I'll still change and move. And so that dying, not afraid of dying, I think that's what changed me the most. I was always afraid of dying before that. And now it's just, I see it's an organic process. It's like the changing of the seasons, and you can count on that from spring into summer, into fall, into winter. It's the same with living, that we're living and then we die. Isn't that wonderful? And then we get to be reborn and have some experiences, maybe on a different planet, somewhere else. But what we really get to have here is this experience to love, to really love and know that we came from love. We are love. We return to love, and we never die. And I think by having that and knowing that, it sets us a little more free to look at what we really want to create while we're here, and really connect with people, and not be so alone and isolated. And that we have a lot of work to do on this planet as well, to keep her healthy. Well, I have the medical records, so I have proof. A lot of people don't have proof when they have an NDE, but I have proof. I mean, I was in the hospital there, and the flatline, it's in the records, so I have the proof that it happened. I'm lucky like that. Death is an interesting place to be, right? It's when you get to kind of look at your life and what you've created and how much you've loved, how much you haven't loved, how much you've created. I always taught my kids to, wherever they go, to make it a better place just by them being there. And I think that's what I want to do with my life here, is that when I do die and put down this skin dressing, that I've left the world a better place than when I got here. And I think we all do that and take some responsibility for our life. And some people say, oh, you've had just the easiest life since then. No, I haven't. And so I've had a lot of pain and suffering in this life. And for most people, it probably would have killed most people what I've been through. I've been through some really devastating divorces. I was a multimillionaire at one time. Now I'm not. I lost it all. I'm okay with that. So you learn to roll with things. You learn to stay in your center, stay in that divine love part, no matter what. So if I'm pulled out or gone into a dark spiral of pain or suffering or hate or judgment or control or any of those things, I just make sure I come back and stay in my center. And that's in that heart center. And I try to communicate from the heart. I mean, we're a very intellectual species, so we like to communicate information a lot. But I don't think that's as important as the heart communication, that we communicate heart to heart and really validate that way of communication, and that we don't lose that part of ourself that's human, and that's our ability to really love and really have that experience while we're here and on this beautiful planet that we are in as well. I've written 2 books. I've written my first book, Dying for the Light. It's on Amazon, and I have another book on Sekhmet. I always forget the title. Seized by Sekhmet, an Egyptian goddess revolution, and I have that. I'm writing my second book now, and this tells about all my experiences since the NDE. The first book is just telling my story. You know, it's really a simple story, and so I kept it like it is. It's really a simple story. But then afterwards, acclimating that process, and then continuing to have experience. So I've been a lifetime experiencer, you know, and so how to work with that. And so in this next book, I'm writing all my different experiences since then. I had to learn about my psychic abilities. Everyone has them. We all, like a mother knows when her baby's sick, a father knows when he needs to fend, you know, or whatever. You have that intuition. You're like, who's going to call? And you say, oh, you know who's going to call on that phone. You already know before sometimes. So we all have this intuition. We haven't been given a lot of permission to use it. I think it's our key. I think it's a golden key, is our intuition. And so I learned how to acclimate and how to use my abilities. And so I teach that at school. I have a school online, Esotera.us, and I teach you how to work with that. I do free readings and healings on my show. I have a radio show for 8 years now. I've done it once a week. Never gotten paid for it. It's free to the public, called the Cosmic Oracle Show on Revolution Radio and on Facebook. So I feel like I've done my work to help. I want to continue to help, and however I can help, like doing shows like these shows. And I'm a little bit shy, believe it or not. I'm a host on my show, and I do all these things, but I'm still a little bit shy. If I was to give you some advice I'm an elder now, you know, and so I've had a lot of life experience. I would say, don't settle. Don't settle. If you're unhappy in a relationship, change it or get out of it, or heal it, or do something. Take some action. Don't be stuck. If you're stuck, don't be stuck for days or years, and then it's a lifetime, and you look back and you go, God, I could have had a life, but I didn't. And that to follow those desires, you have desire for a reason. So let's say you're into learning about different cultures. Learn that. You want to learn how to do salsa. Learn that. Learn how to do that. you want to travel, save your money and put it out there, make an intention. And I want to travel, and help me. Ask. We have all this help that we don't ask for. I ask my guides for help all the time. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Can you, clear the way? Or what do you think? I don't do that at a dinner table, when I say, hey, get out of here. That would scare people. But I work with them and I ask for help. And I've been really fortunate because the help has always come. It might not come in the way that you think or in the body that you think or any of that, but it will come for you. So we're not alone here on this planet. We have a lot of helpers that don't have bodies, all right? But they have a lot of energy, and they can help give you energy. They can help you move to that next step, whatever that is, in your life. And to live an extraordinary life. Don't settle, don't blend. Do what's best in your heart. Don't give a crap about what people think. Doesn't matter. Let them think. Like tonight on your show, I'm going to have some haters. Before I was really sensitive, and I just wanted to please everybody. And I had to let go of that, because what happened with pleasing everyone is I lost myself in that. And as being an empath, you can hook onto their energy and kind of go with them wherever they're going, but you can lose yourself in that. So as an empath, remember your energy feels good. It feels really good. If you're feeling tired, depressed, what we call stinking thinking, like you're ugly, you're old, who do you think you are? Just tell all of that and get out of here and keep on keeping on, staying with your purpose. And your purpose changes and your life changes. Nothing's ever the same. That's a beautiful thing about being on this planet, is you can always count on change, like our season. And so if you're stuck, get some help, call out for some help, get some friends, get unstuck, just take a step and try things you haven't tried before, and love with all your heart. Be passionate. That's it. I got it. I had to come around through the back door. Have a passionate life, okay? And we each have our part in this huge, huge puzzle. But if we all show up and we're passionate, then we have a chance. Ultimately, peace on this planet, we can have it. It's not a dream. It can be a reality.